Hi folks, let's take 7 minutes to discuss a dynamic that powers some of the world's largest companies, network effects. Many of today's most successful businesses are built on network effects. In fact, network effects are the core reason why these companies are so successful and so difficult to disrupt. The good news is that online marketplaces are extremely well positioned to benefit from network effects. In this video, we'll look into what network effects are, how network effects are built, and how you can compete against the giants who have already established network effects. Network effects are a phenomenon where the value of a product increases the more people use it. The telephone, the internet, and social media platforms are classic examples of this. The more people use these products, the better the experience becomes for all users. After all, a phone doesn't really have value to you if nobody else has a phone. The kind of network effect I just described is often called a direct network effect or one-sided network effect. In contrast, what happens on a marketplace is often called a two-sided network effect or an indirect or cross-site network effect. So in a phone network, everyone is essentially the same type of user. But a marketplace has two different user groups, sellers and buyers. When a new seller joins the marketplace becomes more valuable to the buyers. This brings in more buyers to the platform, making it more valuable to the sellers. This brings in more sellers, and the dynamic begins again. So in a two-sided network effect, growth on one side of the user base increases the value for the other side. What this dynamic shows you is that for a marketplace, the value and the growth potential isn't in the platform itself or the technology that powers it. Which, by the way, is why we think it's such a great idea to build a marketplace with shared tribe instead of custom coding, but that's not really the point of this video. The point is that the value and potential of a marketplace is in the increasing network of users and in how well the founder can balance this network so that both sides get the maximum benefit. Two-sided network effects are harder to establish than one-sided network effects. So, how do you get the flywheel going? In a nutshell, most successful marketplaces have followed some variation of the following model. First, start small. Then bring in the supply. Then bring in just enough demand to satisfy the supply. And then do whatever it takes to get these two groups to transact. An early-stage marketplace founder faces what's often called the chicken and egg problem. If sellers are there for the buyers, and buyers are there for the sellers, how do you bring in the first users? I've made an entire video dedicated to this topic, but the TLDR is that most marketplaces should start by building a small initial supply. When the supply is in place, you bring in just enough demand to satisfy the existing supply, and then it's your job to get these two groups to transact. That might require lots of manual work at first, and that's completely okay. What matters is that these early transactions happen, and that you're on a path towards increasing liquidity. Liquidity means that an individual user is likely to get their needs met on your marketplace. If you don't have liquidity, users aren't getting value out of your marketplace and network effects can't unfold. Reaching liquidity is much easier with a small initial user base. And even though it might sound paradoxical, starting small can also hold the answer to how you can compete with big established players that have gained the early advantage on network effects. The general wisdom of network effects is that the biggest player wins. A business with the biggest market share has the most users, therefore it offers the most value, which makes it even more attractive to users. This is why social media giants like Meta have become virtually invincible. However, winner takes all isn't the whole truth for marketplaces. That's because there are other network-based competitive advantages that aren't connected to scale. These include local network effects, quality and trust, and community. Local network effects work just like large-scale network effects. Every new user increases the value of the product. But in local network effects, this happens on the scale of a single location or within a specific niche. On many marketplaces, users actually don't really care about the total size of the entire network. What they care about is finding what they're looking for. Consider an appointment booking marketplace like Fresha, or a second-hand marketplace like Vinted. If I want to buy a dress and get my hair done for a party, I have a specific need that's tied to a time and a place. So Fresha might have hundreds of hair salons across the world for me, and Vinted may have hundreds and thousands of listings for jeans. but the total network size doesn't really add value for me and my specific use case. In fact, I might even find more value in a small dress rental marketplace or a marketplace like Fresha focusing on my hometown of Helsinki. Local network effects are one of the reasons why large-scale marketplaces are facing more and more competition from small vertical players. Your competitive advantage against a large incumbent could be your ability to build very strong local network effects. Quality and trust don't hinge on scale either. Airbnb rode the verticalization trend to win over Craigslist in local accommodation, but it had another key benefit as well. Users experienced Airbnb as more reliable and the listings of higher quality. Smaller players are better able to offer added value through manual trust-building mechanisms, such as increased user verification or vetting, and thereby differentiate themselves from big platform giants. For example, freelance marketplaces like TopTal, FreeUp, and Hired all highlight exclusivity in their marketing and use this to differentiate themselves from players like Upwork. A third lever is community. Connection is a form of network value that doesn't depend on the total network size. The benefits of big but impersonal marketplaces can be outweighed by the sense of community and connection that a smaller marketplace can offer. This doesn't mean that the community can't scale. For example, the RV rental marketplace Paul Camper used very active community building as a key growth strategy from the early days up until it was acquired in 2022 for over $30 million. Leaning into a community is a great way to solve the initial chicken and egg problem and build an emotional connection that competitors can't copy. So to wrap up, network effects are powerful. Establishing network effects, however, takes time. While marketplace businesses are famously scalable, they're also notoriously slow to grow. In fact, growing too fast can harm a marketplace because it makes reaching liquidity harder, and without liquidity, network effects won't unfold. Understanding network effects and building them patiently can become the biggest competitive advantage for a marketplace, even against big established players. As usual, you can find links to all my source articles and podcasts in the video description. Thanks for watching.